Hello, and thank you for listening. Today, we're going to be presenting our idea called the Fast Fresh Food Truck. We are Team 7. I am Justin McDonald, and other individuals in the group include Austin Jones, Veronica Skolnick, and Claire Zane. So, for our agenda, we're going to walk through our business related question. Then, we're going to walk you guys through the data gathering process we went through behind the scenes. We're going to talk about our analysis, including the data cleaning and preparation, the initial analysis of the variables, the correlation analysis of the variables, and then finish up with our recommendation and conclusion and give a brief word on future steps. So our business related question, many experts believe that obesity, heart disease, and diabetes are a grave public threat to the United States, but we really wanted to look at what factors contribute to this health crisis, whether that be anything from location to income, food insecurity or food deserts, and other variables related to these. Then we wanted to see if there was a commercial or market solution to this public health crisis. We wanted to try to target the communities that were hardest hit and try to find the community that in particular is the most hardest hit that we could impact. And we were trying to come up with an idea of what kind of business we could open to help overcome some of these major contributing factors. So the idea that we ended up coming up with was a healthy fast food truck that has the ability to deliver cheap, nutritious food to struggling communities who are facing either food insecurity, poor health situations, and lack of income. So for our data gathering process, we utilize the Food Environment Atlas, which is a database maintained and built up by the U.S. Department of Agriculture, and the USDA sources a variety of different public and government data to use within this database. So everything from the CDC, the World Health Organization, the Census Bureau, are all included within that data set. It spans 275 different variables ranging from societal health, demographics, lifestyle, and food access. This data is at county level for the entire US, so it has the various 50 different states, and then it breaks it down by county level, but that's the lowest level that it breaks it down by. So seeing as how there are so many variables and the scope is for every US county, we decided to limit it a bit for data analysis purposes. So we limited our scope just looking at the New England area, in particular Connecticut, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Vermont, and Maine. We analyzed a variety of different variables to gauge areas with poor societal health, lower wealth, and higher rates of food insecurity. So this is just a brief table showing the variables that we looked at. Initially, we looked at all variables and determining which ones would be most prominent in our analysis, but this table kind of just shows the prominent variables we used, including our composite variable and the three variables that go into that beneath. So for our targeting strategy, we wanted to pull in various dimensions in order to target the specific location where we wanted this food truck to take place. We wanted to pull in dimensions from income levels, health rates, and food insecurity as well. So in order to do that, we figured the best option would be to compile a composite variable in order to target which New England county could benefit the most from our business idea. So this composite variable is built out of these three variables that you see at the bottom of the slide. It's equal weightings. Each variable has about a 33.33% rating to equal that 100%. So the first one's poverty rate. That is a 2015 data source, and it shows the percent of households falling under the poverty rate. The second one is the adult obesity rate. That is a 2013 data source. It shows the percent of adults whose BMI is in or above the obesity rating. And the final one is household food insecurity. And that is an average built off of data from 2013 to 2015. And that is an average percent of households that were unable to provide food for one or more members of housing And that includes inadequacy of quality and variety, which is what we're really trying to target in this situation. And now Claire will talk more about the data cleaning and preparation.
We began our analysis by using Python to clean the dataset and to better understand the correlations between different variables. So this understanding allows us to select which variables to target and to use as independent variables in the composite variable that we ultimately created. So originally, all of the data we use in our analysis was contained in separate Excel files as part of the USDA database. After briefly summarizing this data, we integrated our desired Excel files into an aggregated CSV file. Additionally, we filled out the missing values and fixed the outliers. So the basic steps and the results are listed here. First, we read the original Excel file obtained from USDA website and phrased it into 13 different CSV files for each single sheet. And then we join the 13 separate CSV files together based on the unique FIPS code of each county within New England and to create one aggregated information table. After that, we drop the columns whose non-indication value exceeds the percentage threshold of 15% and drop the columns whose number of total missing value exceeded the threshold of 10. So the threshold that we talked about here is based on our understanding of the data set. So if the values in the columns with non-indication or missing values are analyzed, so it will likely result in misinterpreted results. So that's why we set the threshold here. And after that, for the rest of the dataset, we use the most common used mode value to handle the missing value. And then finally, we went through all the data within the dataset and found no obvious outlier. Before analyzing how each independent variable could contribute to our final business decision, we conducted an overall review of all the variables in order to understand what each variable represented. Because as we have talked before, like 275 variables were too many for us to investigate at a detailed level, so we started at a subcategory level. We generated a list of 31 subcategories using Python and then briefly went through the nature of each subcategory. So our purpose is to uncover which counties are suffering the most from the health issues like obesity and diabetes that may be caused by food insecurity and poverty. So that's why we narrowed down our data from the 31 subcategories to 3 subcategories, which is the health, the income level, and the state food insecurity. And we believe that this could provide us with the most relevant information that we need for further analysis. So we further break down each subcategory and took a detailed look at the 17 segmented variables, and then we pick 6 variables from with the most up-to-date information. And one thing to note here is that we didn't pick the variables that are related to children because we think that these are not separately considered here as our target customer is the entire population.
For data analysis, we used Excel to generate a correlation matrix to better understand the relationships between our variables. As you can see in the chart, we have discovered both positive and negative correlations that strongly support our business venture. We see positive correlations between low access to stores and food insecurity, low income and low access to stores, and convenience stores and obesity. These correlations show that those who are unable to access stores and have low income also have limited access to food. It also shows that those who only have access to convenience stores that are known to carry less nutritional food also suffer from obesity. On the negative side, we see correlations between low access to stores and grocery stores and food insecurity, and low income and grocery stores. These correlations show that a decrease in grocery stores cause an increase in food insecurity, which is based on limited access and low income. In the image below, you can see that we used a heat map to visibly differentiate the positive and negative correlations, with green being highly positive and red being highly negative. To further our correlation analysis, we also use Python to generate a correlation matrix. This analysis helps us choose our composite variable through the high correlations between household food insecurity and household very low food security, as well as the rate of adult diabetes and adult obesity. We also use the negative correlation between median household income and poverty rate. These correlations helped us determine that obesity rate would be our metric for community health, poverty rate would be our metric for community wealth, and food insecurity would be our metric for access to nutritional food.
Using our composite variable, which if you remember is a weighted combination of obesity rates, poverty rates, and food insecurity rates, we created this visualization of New England, which you can see has the darker blue areas are a higher amount of this composite variable, and the light blue areas are a lower amount of this composite variable. It's really easy to see that Maine has some of the largest struggles, some of the highest obesity rates, highest poverty rates, and highest food insecurity rates when combined together in this composite variable. And right there, where the red diamond is, you can see that the most severe county is Somerset, Maine, in New England. Zooming in here on just Maine, which seemed to have some of the worst rates, we can still see here that Somerset does have the highest composite variable, being about 21.5 in that score of comparing these three rates together. It is because of this that we think that Somerset, Maine would be an ideal place to test out our business solution for this health problem. We believe that a healthy, affordable food truck that could drive around to the various areas in this Somerset, Maine county would be able to give them healthy food at a cheap and affordable rate that would otherwise be outside of their reach. Now, if we were to take this project forward, or we were to ask someone else to do additional research into this area, there are a few suggestions that we would have. The first is to take a deeper dive into specific neighborhoods within counties. One of the problems we found with our data sets is that it was only at county level or at state level, which doesn't really take into consideration all the variations within counties. For example, Suffolk County, the county that Boston is in, has some incredibly wealthy neighborhoods and has some very poor neighborhoods. So while Suffolk County, in our charts, appears to simply have an average poverty rate and an average obesity rate, we would believe that there would be neighborhoods that would be much worse and neighborhoods that would be much better off. The second thing that we would do is that we would consider other factors besides health and income level, such as gender, race, education level, those types of things. The last thing that we would want to do is we would want to expand the area that we looked at beyond New England. So we look at the entire United States, North America, globally, to try and find the best places to implement this business solution. Thank you so much for watching our presentation, and we hope that you have a wonderful summer.